how are things going?
They're going good. Yeah, definitely a lot of work to do. It's the first couple of days, first day of pads. So definitely just kind of finding those strides and finding what I definitely need to work on. And I think today was a good start, but definitely going to the film room and see what I can improve on.
So what's it like getting back to the pads?
It's a great feeling. It's always that feeling. I mean, you do the 7-on-7 stuff, you do the helmets only stuff, but this is football. 7-on-7 isn't football. It's when you get the pads on and when you're in the trenches. You got guys way bigger than you, and you're running routes on guys way smaller than you. But you got pads on. There's collisions, and I mean, it just feels like football again.
What have you been able to gain so far from being in the same room as Dalton?
Yeah, Dalton's been a great leader, and I mean, every opportunity that he gets, he's telling me something, giving me little nuggets on what to do. And I mean, I'm just a sponge at this point, just taking in everything that he's telling me. And not just him, those other older guys, Sprink, Sean, Bunt, they're always just giving little nuggets throughout the day, throughout the practice, even in meetings. I'll be walking back to my room late at night and they'll say, hey, remember that play we were watching? This might help you a little bit on that one. And I mean, that just stuff is really helpful. And also being able to bounce that other stuff off of rookie Peyton Hendershot, and we room together. So, I mean, we'll be in the room going through stuff, going through fits, and just be like, hey, I can help you on this better, I can help you on that better, just stuff like that.
I was going to ask you about him. What have your impressions been of Peyton?
I mean, another Big Ten guy, so I know what he's been through in college, and so we kind of came in together, and we roomed, I mean, right out of the gate, and just being able to bounce stuff off when we were first learning stuff was really helpful. And I mean, in the Big Ten, we run a lot of the same stuff off of bigger guys, and it's just like, hey, man, it's just like blocking those Ohio State DNs or some of those guys who are a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, and it's been really fun having him there.
When you say right out of the gate, like rookie minicamp we're talking? Or?
Yeah, I mean, he was right down the hall from me in the hotels, and I mean, he's like a 5-minute drive from me right now, so I mean, he'll call me up late at night and be like, hey, come over, let's walk through a little stuff or little stuff like that.
Those tips you're talking about with the Dalton, was it like stuff you've never even thought of before? And you're like, holy cow, where did they even come up with this? What would be an example?
So it's a couple things are stuff that I haven't heard. I mean, when you go to different places, there are going to be little things that you've never heard before. But like, for example, today I was getting off my double teams a little too early. I was giving good pressure, but then I would leave. And he was like, hey, maybe you can sit on that a little bit longer. You don't need to be rushed. And just sit on that, help your call it F, out a little bit more, and then you could go up to that second level.
What are your expectations for yourself for this year?
I've got pretty high expectations for myself. I kind of keep those to myself, but I mean, I definitely want to get on the field and make an impact wherever I can.
Did you pick the brains of any former tight ends or anything?
I was able to actually go to tight end U out in Nashville. So being able to listen to guys like George Kittle and Travis Kelce and just learning stuff from them, I definitely got to get a little bit more comfortable to be able to pull out some of the stuff they were talking about. But it's definitely in my piggy bank in the back of the head. Maybe I'll pull it out when I get a little more comfortable.
What was that like to be around all those guys?
It's a great experience. I mean, you get there and you just want to listen. And you just want to hear everything they have to say, no matter what they're saying. And me being a younger guy, a rookie, I just wanted to take as many notes as possible. So I mean, even when I didn't have a notepad, I was saying it over and over in my head just to make sure that it was in my head. And just being able to meet those guys as people too is really awesome. And I mean, tight ends are brotherhood. No matter where you go, the tight ends are usually pretty helpful and pretty nice. And it's just a good group of guys.
Do you allow yourself to think like maybe one day you'll be leading those sessions and all like those guys?
I hope to, but it definitely starts right here, starts this week, starts today, starts with every rep. I gotta do what I gotta do, take advantage of every opportunity I get.
What do you consider your best attribute?
I'm not sure yet. I think just coming through Wisconsin is probably my best attribute. They taught me a lot there. They taught me to respect the run game and fall in love with the run game, and that's something that I did, but also how to play off the run game, how to play in the pass game, play action stuff.
How does that work? Do they just invite you to that tight end U thing, or do you like...
Yeah, I think so. You get an invite. So I just got a text, and it was like, here's an invite. So I was like, okay.
So did you have to change any plans or anything like that, or?
I was originally going to go out and see my mom, but I called my mom. I was like, I can't miss this. And she completely understood. She's like, oh.
So when's the first time you ever heard about that?
Last year when it first started. So
okay.
I followed them pretty early out of the gate.
How did growing up in a football family kind of
mold you when you look at it?
Well, yeah, growing up in a football family, one, but I think also having an older brother. I mean, he was putting my head through the drywall when we were kids, and I still somehow fell in love with it. So it was something that I just, it was in my family. I had a football in my hand since I could walk, and all the little games and stuff. It wasn't hide and seek. It wasn't anything. It was mostly football related. It was, hey, sit out all these cushions. I'm going to laser a ball at you. Go dive and try to catch it, and that was fun to me. So football's always been there.
How often did the drywall thing happen?
Let's just say a lot of furniture was moved to cover those holes.
Thank you.
So
Coming
you
from
put on
Cal-
the pads as an NFL player. When was the first time you ever put the pads on?
I played up on my brother's team a couple times, and I remember they put a helmet on me, and it was not big, or it did not fit. And I was shaking my head, and I got hit one time, and my helmet was over here. And they're like, all right, maybe we got to wait a couple of years.
Been told how much you look like your grandfather?
No, I've never heard that.
I see a
No,
resemblance there.
actually, I got my head shaved one time. I went too short, and I was bald. And they were like, hey, you kind of look like your grandpa. I was like, yeah.
What's the biggest jump from college to pro playing tight end?
I think the speed of the game. Everybody says that, but it's not really always physical speed. It's the mental speed. You got to be on to the next play every time. You got to live in the present. You got to be neutral the whole time. And then when you get up to the line, you got to know your job, know where you're going. You got to know what's going to happen, what checks are going to be made off different fronts. If a linebacker's in one spot, what you got to do versus another spot. It's a lot of different things going on in your head, and you just got to stay composed. And if something bad happens, you got to just water on the back of a duck, go on to the next one.
So the volume that's being thrown at you from a college defense isn't anywhere close to basically what you're going to see in the NFL, is that what you're saying?
At Wisconsin, I think I learned quite a bit.
Yeah.
So this stuff isn't super new to me, and there's not a ton more, but there is more stuff. And the verbiage is different than what it was at Wisconsin, and there's definitely a couple more things that I got to pick up on, or I had to pick up on.
Why are cheese curds so great?
One more.
'Cause sometimes they get in the fryer together and they make one mega curd, and that you're lucky if you get that on your plate.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you.